Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with the follow-up video for the Molten Strike Zerka, taking on most of the endgame and stuff. I don't know, it went pretty well. I think in the end I had a lot of fun on Molten Strike, and I think it's a pretty viable skill at the moment. Largely thanks to, I think, a lot of the masteries, a little bit of the rework around that, so you can get good strike range, and then that means that you don't really have to be like point blank up close to get attacks in and to generate molten balls against enemies. Previously, like quite a while ago now, you could like pre-fire your molten balls and you didn't necessarily have to hit anything, and that was a pretty good aspect of something like this. But then that got taken away and you essentially had to hit things to generate balls, and that made skills like Molten Strike a bit more difficult to pull off because it was a bit uncomfortable positioning wise quite a lot of the time. But nowadays, with the right amount of strike range and attack speed, you can actually still get some really good coverage and be pretty safe with the skill and get even some good clear speed. Like you can stand in the center of a screen and basically clear an entire screen just by hitting everything all around you with several different strikes, good strike range, good ball amount, I guess. And yeah, as you can see, taking on some, I don't know, double beyond tier 16s, stuff like that, just to level up before doing some more content. And I was juicing maps pretty hard, and essentially with some life gain on hit, I didn't even have much in the end. It was just 20 on each ring. So 40 total. With some life gain on hit, as long as you're getting a lot of balls out there, a lot of attacks, you become pretty close to immortal as long as you are attacking and you do have a high enough base to not get one shot on. That said, still taking plenty of one shots depending on the content, like that boss right there, for example. Once you get onto higher stacks, especially, if you see him randomly at a higher stack of Scourge, he can just do a slam that one-shots many different levels of HP, and got to kind of play around it. But for plenty of other content, like I said, as long as you're standing still, getting your attacks in, you are damn near unkillable. So Harvests were a good example, could most of the time just face tank in the middle of them. Same with like some of those double beyonds and lots of stuff. I don't know what else to say there. But yeah, it was still a very weak amount of life gain on hit. I think you could do quite a bit more. I didn't use a vitality on hit Watcher's Eye, for example. I had one with some leech, which ultimately didn't do anything because I was using a Tsiri Flask pretty much full time, and that would have covered my leech anyway. But you can do claws as a claw setup instead, and maybe as a raider. I think it should be pretty nice, or maybe some other ascendancies, but I do think claws with life gain on hit at the moment, if you stack lots of proj, should be pretty damn powerful. And then just try and focus on attack speed. This was probably one of my worst boss kills. I don't know, it wasn't fully like stacked, ramped. I don't know. I still wasn't too sure what to do with Hydrosphere. In theory, I think Hydrosphere is supposed to be pretty much just in front of the enemy. This is a ridiculous boss kill because I had an Echo Shrine. So in theory, I think it's supposed to be in front of the enemy so that you're hitting the Hydrosphere and then you get an additional attack strike that hits the boss. Because if you attack the boss and the Hydrosphere is next to you, it doesn't give you an additional attack on the Hydrosphere. You have to be attacking the Hydrosphere and then it generates an additional attack against the boss. That's kind of a distinction. But you can see we could take the Shaper laser beam as long as we had some flasks up and good attack speed and all that. And that's just a 40 life gain on hit, so it is pretty impressive, the power of such a low amount of life gain on hit. But as long as you got good attack speed, and in this case I think I had like 17 to 20 attacks a second, something like that, and it did cover things pretty nicely. Otherwise, some of the boss DPS just kind of depends on how big the hitbox I think it was for the bosses. I never even tried out the mastery for projectiles of slower projectile speed, which I think may have helped hit more bosses more reliably, but just didn't seem necessary, and I was trying to focus on the rest of my points going towards like a bit more life. This is a flawless Chayula breach, so it's the Uber breach. It's the first one of these that I've cleared for the league. I've tried a few of them just on a few characters here or there as a bit of a challenge test piece for a character, and it is very insane. It goes so fast and the mobs are pretty tanky, and depending on the role of the actual breach itself, they could be very dangerous with the right mods to just like damn near one-shot you. It's pretty melee unfriendly as far as I can tell, because those the rares like flicker around and they can be pretty like cancer to try and hit, or you know, quickly kill, because you don't have much time to kill them before you have to move on. And in the end, I did get this flawless breach like cleared, I guess you could say. But I just beat the timer by like half a second or some shit, and then that means that it activated Sheila and I could just clear the rest kind of comfortably. But it's pretty damn clench, and it's going to be pretty damn RNG as to whether or not I can do these, because I did fail one just because I died to very hard mods halfway through. Tried another one and it kind of worked out to just barely get me there. Then I had to do the boss, and the boss is a whole nother thing. Like, my defenses aren't amazing. I got 5k life, perma fortify most of the time. Taste of hate, a bit of armor, like, I don't know, 6k armor, some shit like that. And like lots of recovery, right? But the attacks from Chula damn near one-shot me, and I've got capped chaos resist during flask. Without the flask, I got like 35, 40 chaos res, something like that. And the chaos hits still are insane. So got to be quite a bit thicker to take stuff like that on. Also got Maven pretty comfortably. I could face tank the Cascade of Pain as long as I'm ramped at the time. Being stun immune helps a lot on that situation. Otherwise, I did try Simulacrum, got to like wave 23, something like that. Get pretty overwhelmed, and just some of the map mods can be insane, and inevitably just die to some of that shit, so I didn't get past that for that. And then afterwards I did try the Feared, but I left Sheila alive for too long, and honestly, once you die once on this character, it's really hard to make it back into a certain fight, given that Rage is a very large portion of our DPS, and I can't get it back up during a fight like the Feared. So died once because there was 3 Sheilas active at the time, and then you just can't do anything beyond that. So that's kind of a flaw of the Berserker. If you're going to be dying, it's tough to start back up once the fight's already active. If it's not, you got a Hydrosphere and you can just charge up. But yeah, some of those situations are going to be pretty rough. And then we tried to face tank the Die Beam and successfully did it a few times. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing else to say, really, I guess. Molten Strike, very nice skill, I think. Maybe it's not the best thing in the world. It's still very viable. I don't know why people need to just say that everything's shit and say that my build's shit, and I don't know. Whatever. Thank you very much for watching. You guys have yourselves a good one. See you next time. Not a real Die Beam? How's that not a real Die Beam? Man, he's been a real fucking cunt about it. Dropping so many degen bubbles too. I mean, I've got one use of life flask for this last one. That's gonna be a bit interesting. I'll still try. Seriously?